Okay, it's 3 minutes past, so I'm going to get started. Well, first of all, welcome. So happy to see everyone here today virtually. Thank you for coming. This is the fourth out of four. So today's the last session out of our series, Money Mondays, celebrating Financial Literacy Month. And today we're going to be talking about avoiding frauds and scams, which sadly is, quite a big part of being financially literate and knowing how to handle your personal finances is also being in the lookout for those who mean to harm us as well. For those of you who don't know me, who's their first time, and those of you who are coming back, my name is Alessandra Vecino Gasabon. I'm the Economic Empowerment Program Coordinator at the Hispanic Federation, and I've been the one teaching these workshops. So before we get started, just a few housekeeping rules. Make sure that your microphone is muted upon entry to the webinar. Click the Q&A icon if you want to submit questions at any time. We're going to review them at the end and have a conversation about them. If you have any comments, please use the chat for it, and note that this webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on Facebook later on the Hispanic Federation's Facebook. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the goals for today's workshop, and we have three simple goals. The first one is, learning how to identify the factors that put you at risk for frauds or scams, knowing which are the most common frauds and scams you might encounter, and third, gain an understanding of how best to protect yourself. And, I'll be giving you some strategies and tips, things to keep in mind on the regular so that, you are better prepared to deal with frauds and scams. So I think we've all heard at one point or another about frauds and scams. So I'd like to take a few minutes for us to share a little bit about what we know about them and, things that you have heard before. We are living in an increasingly virtual world, and there are many new ways to fall prey to scammers. So, if you feel comfortable sharing, please just write in the chat, what frauds or scams you've heard before. Oh, while you type down, so let's get into what is a fraud, what is a scam. So this occurs when someone gains something of value, usually being money or property, from a victim by knowingly misrepresenting themselves and making dishonest or illegal claims. So I'm checking the chat, see what we have. Oh yeah, this is great. I'm gonna actually talk about this later today. Yeah, so getting a call from your car insurance or the IRS saying that, if you don't give up this information or send them money or to this address, then, you're going to be put in jail and this is your like that kind of thing. Yes, that is precisely a type of fraud. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Taking advantage of an elderly person by means of, maybe using their accounts or using their money to buy things for themselves. That is also definitely another type of fraud. And we're going to cover all of those today. Amazing questions. Amazing input and comments. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Thank you for your input. Okay, so first of all, we're going to get started with, the factors or the situations that put us at greater risk, so that when we find ourselves in it, again, just knowing that we might be at risk is almost the first line of defense in order to protect ourselves. So some of the situations might be isolation and loneliness. This puts us at greater risk of falling prey to a scammer because this person, they lack someone that they can discuss whatever the scammer is offering, and perhaps advise them against being a part or providing any personal information. This can happen to anyone, but it does happen more often with the elderly. Oh, I did just saw something in the chat, and I definitely want to address this. Saying that I get a lot of messages from Amazon stating that my credit card has been used to buy goods. Yes, that would definitely be considered more like a scam. Whether the information is coming from Amazon themselves and you are seeing that your credit card is being charged, absolutely. Or it could just be someone pretending to be Amazon and trying to get you to provide your information, whether it's your address or confirm a credit card number or that kind of thing. So yeah, I'll definitely talk about this later on. Thank you so much for that. Yes, so back to it. So when we talk about the second one, recent losses and loved ones, it goes a little bit along with the first factor as well. And this presents a risk mostly because of the emotional state of the individual. It is a loss. It's a very vulnerable moment in life, and scammers do take advantage of precisely the fact that you're not 100% yourself. You're grieving and you can't focus on analyzing the situation properly, so that is also something to be in the lookout. Perhaps not yourself if you're in the situation, but perhaps friends or relatives who are have also lost a loved one. So it's a good thing to keep an eye on, like who's approaching and what kind of messages or everything that they're getting. The third one, sadly, is physical or mental disability. Despite the fact that the average person that has a disability receives only a few $100s a year above the poverty level, they can be seen as an easy target in many ways by scammers. Unfortunately, it presents in two different ways. One of the most prevalent ways this happen is from family members or caregivers who have access to personal or banking information, like that person mentioned before. So when they have access to personal or banking, they're able to steal or transfer money from these accounts, and these can go undetected for months and even years, especially if the disabled person relies frequently or completely on others to provide assistance with paying bills or groceries or taking care of other expenses. Another common tactic from in this one is for someone to call or send an email to a person with a disability posing as a government agent or Social Security, Medicare, IRS, all these different things, and try to get information from them this way. Another a factor is lack of familiarity. This could be in regards of the financial resources and terminology, and what's out there for people, and understanding precisely their financial situation. But it could also be just lack of familiarity with modern technology. If someone is not um, that familiar with using perhaps a smartphone to conduct their banking, someone that calls might be able to tell them, hey, all you have to do is, put your number here or send me your account number, and this is how you get them. And they might be, unknowingly giving up information or sending, financial resources that way. Financial crises. Yeah, crises could be from a sudden lack of work, or maybe an illness that prevents you from working and getting an income, to a natural disaster. So these are all places, again, that we are most vulnerable, and these are the moments that scammers take advantage of. And then we also have high risk relatives or friends, and this goes a little bit into what I just mentioned about people with disabilities as well, is that sometimes it is some like high risk relatives or friends that take advantage of people in those situations. And what we're talking about is, people going through severe financial crisis themselves, or maybe have like gambling or addiction issues that could also put you at risk, right? But by just being nearby and being a resource for them. So moving on to the types of fraud, and I also put here kind of like the six most common frauds. So we are going to get started with fraudulent payments and or lenders. And there are many, so I'm going to talk first about payments, then about lenders. So there are many variations on the fraudulent payment scam, but there's usually kind of like a typical pattern. Somebody gives you money, whether it's an electronic payment like a PayPal or Venmo or something, one of these e-commerce tools, or gives you a check or gives you a money order, and then asks you to send cash in return. And so when it eventually becomes clear that the person's like story is fake, or the payment isn't, you are responsible for the money you sent them. I was like, you lost it. So a few examples of these scams, something that we've seen in the pandemic is, work at home offers. A company provides you easy money working at home. Then they ask you for help by accepting a payment and then sending them money minus your pay. And, you should always be on the lookout for these things. No company is going to ask you to cash a check and then send them, you know, part of that money, if that makes sense. Like it's not good practice. So from then on, absolutely that this is not, a good company. This is not uh, a good place. Another example is overpayments. Perhaps you sold something online and the person who bought it from you accidentally sent you more money than the price you asked for. And then they ask you to, okay, just like take, um, if they send you $70, take the $50 that I owe you and then just send me the 20. Again, also, this is a very common fraud that happens, especially, since we now buy and sell things online from strangers. And then another one is also something that I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth later, but it's also kind of like the sweetheart scam. Perhaps you met someone online and then they promised to come to the US or promised to come to see you in your state or in your city, whatever the situation may be. And then they ask you to send them money directly, or perhaps the same way we did before, they send you a check and they ask you to deposit into your account and you just send them a portion of that money or the whole money to cover travel expenses or whatever it is. This is also another way that people take advantage of others. And then when it comes to fraudulent lenders, this is someone pretending to be a company, or you maybe receive a notice that the company that collects your mortgage payment transferred your services or sold your debt to another lender. But it turns out obviously this is fake, and then you start sending mortgage payments to a fake lender, and you stop making payments on to your actual lender, and you might be in trouble not only with like late fees, but also you perhaps with the company that you actually need to send them to. So one thing to keep in mind of is that under federal law, a loan servicer must notify you at least 15 days before any transfer of services or debt, and they must provide all the contact information and start date of the new servicer. So the servicer is not going to contact you. Your old company is going to let you know what the new one is. And then you can also always contact the original lender and confirm that the transfer is legitimate. And just this is like also different ways that you can protect yourself, just always confirming the information that you're getting. So the second type of fraud that I want to talk about is financial abuse. And I touched upon it a little bit, particularly when I talked about Elder and disabled folks, that is precisely the misuse of a position of trust or reliability to convince a person to do something they would not ordinarily do. Abuse of legal authority, such as powers of attorney or other fiduciary powers, to obtain a loan or withdraw money on behalf of that person, or maybe sell or change ownership of that person's property. And then the last one is probably one that most people have heard about, and I feel like we've all heard about these at one point or another, but these are credit card frauds. And this is the unauthorized use of a credit card or a similar payment tool to obtain money or property. And, numbers can be stolen from unsecured websites, can be obtained through identity theft, or simply by stealing the actual card. And then these three, so we have charity and disaster fraud. We do see an uptick of these fraud schemes whenever there's a natural disaster or a great tragedy that happens around the world, and you'll see people trying to raise funds for it. So criminals use these tragedies to exploit you and others that want to help. And it can come in many forms, maybe it's emails, social media, crowdfunding platforms, just cold calling, you pick up the phone and they tell you, there was a tsunami that happened and we're trying to raise funds for it, and they're trying to get you to give your information over the phone. That tends to be usually a scam or a fraud. So, always use caution and do your research when you're looking to donate to charitable causes. Go to tried and true organizations that you know of, the Red Cross, UNICEF, things that you can confirm and validate. And not only that, but maybe also local nonprofits that and can talk to, and perhaps even visit one of their offices directly. These are always things that you want to keep in mind when you're trying to perhaps make a donation. Internet scams, this encompasses a lot of things, just because of the virtual world that we live in. But in this little box that I have here, I just want to talk about something that is very common, and I think we all know about it, which is the Nigerian letter fraud. And this usually just offers the opportunity to share in a percentage of millions upon millions of dollars that the person who's writing the letter is trying to give out or perhaps transfer out of Nigeria. It became rather famous, back when fax numbers were the thing, that you could receive an actual physical letter asking you to send information or deposit a check, or send a check in the mail. But now you receive also these same type of scams in an email, saying it's from this Nigerian prince and it's trying to give away all of his fortune, and anybody who replies and gives this information, they will be able to partake in some of the money. And usually, the scheme also relies in convincing the victim to send small amounts of money that, in the grand scheme of thinking that you're going to be receiving millions, doesn't seem like a lot to the scammers. So, obviously we know that the millions of dollars don't exist, and the victim ends up just paying off, whether it's small or even a large amount of money, to these scammers. Another one that we see on the internet is the non-delivery of merchandise. So perhaps, in an internet auction site, you bought an item and you paid for it, and then the seller intentionally fails to ship it. They don't send it to you. So sellers like these might sometimes relist the item and sell it again through a different username. And usually, websites have been getting better about being able to report these types of fraud. And companies are good about reimbursing you, but you also want to keep an eye out on what you purchase online, especially if it's places that it's not, perhaps it's or things like Craigslist, or even like the Facebook marketplace, like where it's regular people and there's no intermediary, there's no like safe way to make the payments, or people asking you to like meet up and they'll give you cash. Always, just keep an eye out for um, the these transactions online. And the last one, I also, talked a little bit about it, which is like the romance scams. And, con artists are experts at what they do, and they will seem genuine and caring and believable. And they are present on most, dating and social media sites. And their intention is obviously, to establish a relationship as quickly as possible and gain your trust as quickly as possible. They may propose marriage or make plans to meet in person, but they will always end up asking for money. So they might say that they are like in the construction industry, so they're often traveling, or they're consultants and they're out of the country at the moment. Excuses to avoid meeting in person, and excuses that will make it make more sense once they ask for money. Oh, if they have an emergency, maybe it's a medical emergency or unexpected legal fees while they're overseas. um that kind of excuses that will make it more believable if you already believe the work of this person. So, just that if someone you meet online, for some reason starts asking you for your bank account information to deposit money, or is continually asking you to send money, you might want to stop that relationship, because it might put you in financial hot water. So another one that is also that I really want to stress and talk about today is identity theft. And it's usually limited to isolated attempts to like steal money from an existing account, such like a charge or a stolen credit card here and there. But when things get deeper, a thief may use your personal information, like your social security number, your bank account, to open new accounts and make transactions on your name. And not only would this represent financial loss, but it could also damage your credit, which on the long run affects you for again a longer period of time than just that one transaction that they did. Now, if fraudulent transactions happen in your account, it doesn't automatically mean that your identity has been stolen. Um, it could be, again, like an isolated incident, but you want to keep an eye out for those markers and contact your bank immediately for more information, and make sure that you are covering all your bases in the case that does. So common methods for that someone might use to steal your identity could be dumpster diving, looking through your trash for bills or other documents with your personal information on it. Credit card cloning or skimming, meaning that they steal your credit or debit card numbers by using, a special device when you process your card somewhere else. Or phishing, which is what somebody talked to in the chat earlier, where they pretend to be financial institutions or companies and send spam or pop-up messages to get you to reveal your personal information. So these are also things that you want to keep an eye out. They could also change your address. They can divert your billing statements to another location by completing, a change of address form. Or simply, the good old fashioned stealing wallets, purses, mail, old credit card statements, pre-approved credit offers, things that have your personal information on it that they can use to then, pretend to be you. Okay, now going into again, what we want to know the most is how to prevent falling victim to a scam or a fraud. And we can start by organizing and understanding your personal finances intimately. And I mean, organizing all of your financial information into one file and even helping others close to you, friends or family, to do the same. Knowing your finances, knowing exactly where everything is, will make it easier to detect inconsistencies and catch warning signs early. The second, which is, a little bit along the side of this, but, reviewing your financial activity regularly, keeping an eye out on your monthly bank statements, making sure that all of the transactions, no matter how small, they are all yours. Even if you see a charge for a cent or 2 cents, but you don't recognize either the time or the place, the date of the transaction, it could say perhaps that it happened in Manhattan, but you know that you live in Queens and you weren't in Manhattan that day. You want to report that. You want to call your bank and report that inconsistency. And then also, like I said, just look out for the warning signs. And some of these may be, again, checking your credit report, finding an account that you didn't open, um, transactions that you didn't make, incorrect personal information, credit inquiries from companies that you've never heard of or contacted, inaccurate balances showing on your accounts, in your credit reports, and a withdrawal that you did not authorize from your bank account, or even simple as, bills that you're used to getting that are no longer being delivered to you. And well, one of the biggest things that we can do is simply don't share your PIN or your passwords or your financial information. That is personal, and that no one needs to know that. It's the best way to keep yourself safe for fraud and scams. And moving on, there are many, many ways. So I'm just trying to get through a lot of the ones that, things that we can keep an eye out in our day to day. So, if you lose your card, if your wallet is stolen, immediately report it to your bank, to, all the banks that you had in your wallet is stolen. And to be prepared, actually, you can make a list with all of the information that you need to report your card lost or stolen and keep it somewhere safe. Don't carry it with you. Perhaps keep it somewhere safe in your home that that you can reach fast if you lost your card and you can't call the number in the back of the card. No, you can save it on your phone, or you can save it on this list, and that could be, you can write down the name of the bank, the customer service number, the account number, and just keep it somewhere safe. And again, don't carry it with you. Keeping an eye out on your mail, using secure mailbox when sending mail or packages, making sure that the drop-offs are legitimate, or go to a location, whether it's like, from the postal service or services like FedEx or UPS, just making sure that you are giving the right people your mail. And again, if you somehow stop receiving bills, contact your bank or companies that you see. And if you stop receiving mail altogether, contact the post office immediately, because someone might have filled out a change of address form in your name, and then all of your information is going somewhere else. Suspicious calls or texts. So, like I mentioned, the scammers' purpose is to have victims give up their personal information. So they're going to be using language that is smart, convincing, and something to note is that it will always be an urgent need. They can pretend to be from your work, your bank, your health insurance, or even a government agencies, like I mentioned, like the IRS. And all these things create feelings of anxiety and urgency that prevent you from thinking through. And it would always be something that you need to do right then, right now. Otherwise, you're going to go to jail. You're going to lose your health insurance. You're going to, your anything. They're going to come up with things to make you feel like you have to do something right then and there. Know that you can always hang up and call yourself to verify the situation using, again, if it's your bank, you can use the number that's in the back of your credit card or debit card. Um, or you can find official sources. The IRS is never, ever, ever going to call you and ask for your personal information. You can go on their website, you can find their number, you can see their documents. They usually contact you only by mail or through the website. So that's something that you could keep an eye out. And the same way with suspicious emails, don't open the attachments, don't click the links or reply emails from unknown or suspicious sources. If you get a weird email that you think might be a scam, just don't reply, don't give out any information. Things like your passport or your social security number, you want to keep them in a safe space and don't carry them with you unless you're going to use them or like you need them. Perhaps you have an appointment at the DMV. Okay, so you're going to take your documents out, you're going to take them, but put them back in the safe place. Don't carry them in the daily. If you have bank statements or other documents that have your personal financial education information, financial information, shred them before you throw them out into the trash. Like I said, people can go dumpster diving and looking for these things. The same for expired debit and credit cards. Don't just throw them away because that has a lot of information, not only printed on the card, but the magnetic strip usually has, information that they can decode regarding your account and, again, other financial information. So make sure to cut them up, shred them, just destroy them completely. And again, don't share your financial information, whether it's by text, over the phone, in social media, or on an email. And this could be passwords, account numbers, credit card numbers, anything that I just mentioned, unless you perhaps started the call if you want to, shop for something or perhaps order food. These are things that you do on the daily, and you trust the other person on the line. You know that you're calling, that specific restaurant or this specific store. But financial information doesn't only refer to these numbers, but also the answers to your security questions as well. Things like your mother's maiden name or name of your first pet. And you might see memes or, play this game going around in social media where people can figure out the answers to these security questions from, you participating in this game. So it might feel harmless or innocuous to just put, oh yeah, my first pet was called Sparky. But now you've already, if that's one of the questions that you've used, now you're already giving up away for them. So, obviously banks, they have, different questions, and they usually have up to three plus, other ways to keeping you safe. But again, there are many ways to get information, so you want to make sure that you're not making it easy for others to steal, to get you. So what to do if you do fall victim to a fraud or a scam? So first off, you want to notify your bank immediately, and you also want to notify the credit agencies. So these are Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So you want to make sure to call them and say, hey, this is happening, so your credit is not affected by these. You also want to notify authorities if it's applicable, if it's an identity theft, whatever the situation calls for, make sure that you do that. And then the last one, which is, it's a pain, but you also want to make sure that this doesn't affect you later on. You might want to consider closing or freezing the accounts that were affected, depending on the type. If somebody stole your debit card number, you don't necessarily need to close your bank account because they don't have information on your account. You want to cancel your card, and your bank can send you a new one with a whole new number. However, if the fraud came through, getting specific information about your bank account, then yeah, you might want to consider closing it because they can't change that easily. So you want to freeze it until you make sure that there is no other risk for you um, to lose money or lose your assets that way. I also want to give you some helpful resources, just to protect yourself. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, they have tips, they have updated information on scams and frauds, the Federal Trade Commission as well. And of course, the FBI also has a good database on different scams and how to stay safe. So, these are 3 links that you could use to just inform yourself about what is happening and keeping an eye out for scammers. And with that, again, my food for thought today is, stay alert, be informed, be empowered, and, know that staying alert also means being assertive enough to say, like, if you get a call, being like, nope, if it's for your car insurance and you happen to know that that is all fine, you can hang up and call later. Just don't give them the more you allow them to stay on the line, the more opportunities are there for them to convince you or to make you lower your defenses. So, always be on the lookout and stay alert. And since this is the last of our financial education, Money Monday series, I want to invite you to another workshop that we're going to be having on May 12th. Just so you know, this panel is going to be presented in Spanish. So, but if you know someone, maybe yourself, you're bilingual, or someone that might need it, is going to be about banking resources for the undocumented community here in New York. It's going to be, again, Wednesday, May 12th at 7 p.m. And it's free to sign up. And you can go to the link that you see on this flyer or keep an eye out for our social media where it's going to be promoted. And it's HispanicFederation.org/Banca Indocumentado NY. So NAM. And really fun thing, like anybody who not anybody, anybody who registers and attends the talk can have the opportunity and will be, entered into a raffle of $25 gift cards. So, that's also a really good incentive to come in and check out the panel. And well, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what we at the Hispanic Federation do, we not only deal with topics of economic empowerment, but also immigration, environment, and civic engagement. So you can sign up and stay connected with us by going to our website, HispanicFederation.org, and signing up with an email in the Get Updates button, or getting texts from us. If you text HF to 40649, we can help you out. At the moment, we are trying to help people to enroll in health insurance, and we can help you, not only figure out what plan is best for you, but also guide you through the entire process of getting health insurance. But not only that, right now we're also helping people get appointments to get vaccinated against COVID-19. So make sure to give us a call, check out the website, and or even email us at what you see on the site, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And well, if you have any questions, please use the chat. I know it's been a little bit longer than usual, but there's just so much to talk about. So I'll be reviewing it in one moment if you want to just start typing. But I want to give everyone a heartfelt thank you for either joining us today for the first time or being here throughout the 4 weeks that we did these workshops. They have been amazing, and thank you for your input. Thank you for your participation. So let's check out the chat. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to keep typing and see if there's one of them going on. I know it's a lot of information. Oh, so yes. Um, yes, so we have one that is actually really important right now when we're talking about the pandemic, and I just mentioned the vaccines. One of the, like I said, natural disasters or, great tragedies are sadly just fodder for, scammers to show up and try to scam people. So we did see, throughout the pandemic and before the vaccines were readily available for everyone, and we still do see it. So you want to keep an eye out. People calling or texting you about, you can pay $20 and get ahead of the line, or you can, if you sign up at this place, we'll let you know once. So, these kinds of things that are either going to, you know, get money from you or perhaps make you give up your personal information. That's something you also want to keep an eye out. In terms of, getting an appointment for a vaccine, you can go to like the city government's websites and the resources that are theirs to find them, or you could go to trusted places, like I just mentioned, Hispanic Federation. We are a legitimate nonprofit and we are able to help you get an appointment where you're not going to give up any more information that you need to, in order to make the appointment. We can guide you to resources that are helpful, and that we will would never ask for money or ask you to pay to get ahead in line or anything like that. Um, and knowing that anyone that tells you that is absolutely definitely a scam or a fraud. Great. Hey, looks like that's it. Oh, uh, yes. So another thing that people try to reach out, and again, it also comes, when it deals with health, issues that and topics that people, feel anxious and mostly stressed about, so they can try to sell, uh, products that portray to like cure all kinds of diseases, but they haven't been approved by the FDA, or they're not from a legitimate pharmaceutical company. Things that they they promise that they're like a miracle cure. They will cure all of your cancer. They will cure Alzheimer's. All of they will make these grand promises. Um, in order to get you to buy these products. And these are very dangerous because they not only affect your financial well-being, but they might also actually hurt your physical well-being. You don't know how your body, or if you're taking any other medications, you don't know how that's going to react. So before trying to take, just be informed, talk to your doctors, talk to your health providers, and make sure that what it is that you're buying, even if it's something um that is like, what would you call it, like an alternative medicine. Make sure that it's not going to affect you more, because again, if it is something that you're looking to help with, you might be in a vulnerable position for people to take advantage of that. So again, just staying alert and informing yourself, and even something as easy as talking to a friend or talking to a relative, and making sure that things are sounding right, that things are logical. It's incredibly helpful. Okay, great. So it looks like those are all the questions that we have for today. Again, thank you so much for participating. I know again it went a little longer, but amazing questions and interactions from everyone. And I hope to see you at future Hispanic Federation's events, particularly if you want to join for the May 12th, Banking for Undocumented Folks. panel. I will see you there. And thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Goodbye.